Hi there. We're here with Dr. Julie again, and we're going to talk about a couple more subjects that the novice handler might find useful. And today I wanted to ask you, Julie, about warming up our dogs. I know with athletes, we like to stretch and run a little bit and get warmed up before we do an athletic activity. Does the same apply to our dogs?
Definitely. The same benefits, just like ourselves, if we're going to go run a few miles in the morning, we want to kind of move your joints through some range of motion, warm up your tissues so that you don't want to go out and do some exercise on cold tissues. So you want to warm up the tissues, make yourself more limber so that you can be safe when you do your exercise.
And do we do this all of the time or just before we go into the ring? What about practice or working in our backyard?
That's a good question. You want to do this anytime you're going to do an activity. So even when you're training in your own backyard or you're at class, you definitely want to warm up prior to any kind of intense activity.
That sounds like a lot to do.
It does, but it just takes 2 minutes to do a routine range of motion on your pet, and the benefits will definitely outweigh. So if you have 2 minutes before the run, 2 minutes before any kind of exercise, even if you're jogging with your pet, it's going to be worth it.
So you said something I wasn't familiar with, the words range of motion. Is that different than just putting your dog over the practice jump or running up and down the field a few times?
Definitely. You're focusing on each of the joints and you're putting them through what we call a passive range of motion. And passive means that you, the handler, you're doing all the work. So the dog is just moving with you. So you definitely want to do that, again, just to get, you need to get lubrication to the joints, nutrition to the joints, you need to warm up the tissues. So it's not stretching either. This is different because stretching, you're holding a position and you're counting from 10 seconds, 15 seconds. This is all you're doing, you're moving the extremities and the back and the neck just through its normal range of motion.
And we're going to go and do a little demo later so you can show us exactly what you're talking about. And I imagine there's sort of a procedure to follow, or
Right.
maybe a process.
Right, exactly. And I can show you that, and then you can get your own routine down, how you hold the dog, where you stand, and things like that. You'll have to make it custom to you and your dog. We don't want anybody to, strain their back or anything like that. We want everybody to be comfortable through the technique.
And can you injure your dog doing this?
You can. So I'm going to show you the proper way to do it. Everybody has to be relaxed. So if the dog is focused on something else and they just want to leave, there's a lot of tension and you don't want to move them. You want to try to be as relaxed as you can and quickly get through the technique. And because if you have a hold of a leg and they decide that they need to go over there, you definitely can hurt them.
How much in advance of the activity would you do it? I mean, do you do it 15 minutes before or 2 minutes before?
Usually within 10 minutes.
Oh,
So if you're at an agility trial, let's say, and you have 3 runs, you're going to do it 10 minutes before each run. So not just once a day, you want to do it before each event.
And what happens if I just, I'm running late to class and I come home for work and I throw the dog in the car and I drive to the practice site and we race into the class setting and it's, you're up, I walk it maybe once or twice and then we go out.
Not the best scenario. You're taking a cold dog and you're going to run them on cold tissues, so they're more prone to injury. If you have 2 minutes beforehand, you should be able to get this done and it's going to be very beneficial. Sometimes you're right, they're calling your name, you're up, you can't do anything, but I can show you even a quick rub down that you could do at least to just, it's kind of like when you do this and you get the circulation to your cheeks, you want to get the circulation to the tissues so that and afterwards you have that lactic acid buildup, so you want the circulation will help remove that. So there's lots of good benefits to doing the range of motion and just warming up the tissues.
So just so I understand it, so I will actually take and move my dog's joint and that'll be sufficient to get blood flow, and what else is happening when we do that?
So what you're doing too is you're actually warming the tissues up. So you get blood flow, you get warmth. Warmth, it makes the tissues more flexible. Also, you're getting nutrition. The only way that you get nutrition to the joint is by movement, because there's no good blood supply in the joint. So you have to literally take the joint through a range of motion, and you're pumping. It's a pumping action, and you're pumping nutrition into that joint, which you're going to need.
Like glycogen or...
Oh, yeah, all
Yeah.
kinds of things.
Yeah.
Electrolytes, glycogen, you bet. So that, just putting through range of motion, real simple, it's great nutrition for the joints.
Do we do this after we've run?
You can, and it's best. So we call that the cool down phase as well, which is the same as the warm up phase. Only I'm also going to show you a scanning technique too that I do during this cool down phase. Because after a run, you want to see if there was any heat, tight tissues, things like that. Because you want to pick these things up before the pet starts to
Yeah.
experience pain.
Because you can have little micro tears
Exactly,
or things
exactly.
like that.
So
Yeah.
I can go into a scanning technique, which is extremely beneficial afterwards. But to cool down, just like us, you don't want to, run 5 miles and then just stop and go sit in a chair. You have to cool down, walk a little bit, and just kind of get that heart rate down and
Yeah,
things like that
yeah.
too.
Now, I don't want to go too far afield. We might save this for another topic, but stretching and then massaging. It's very popular these days to have someone at a show or trial giving massages to dogs. How does that work into the picture?
Yeah, definitely. And again, your warm up should just be you with the dog. It's good bonding time as well. And then you're going to know and feel if the dog is symmetrical and things like that. Then with the tissues, you want to take care of the tissues later on, at between runs or at the event, or after the end of the day of the event. That's just nice. It releases any muscle spasms. It helps the lactic acid. This is massage I'm talking about. But it's very relaxing to the athlete too. So I do like massages at the show. I think it's pretty beneficial, and if there's any trigger points or anything, the masseuse can kind of point that out. I don't usually do any kind of chiropractic or anything at the shows, because I don't want to create any kind of upset with the tissues. So, but the massage is beneficial as well.
So it sounds like that might be better, like at the end of the day
Exactly.
than at the beginning of the day
Yeah,
or something.
yeah, I would definitely do that towards the end of the day, so the dog can relax and the tissues can relax.
And we can do this without being expert
Yes.
rehab vets and all of
Right.
that?
Yes.
All right, great. Well, why don't we have you show us what we do? What we
Sounds
should do.
good.
All right, great. Thanks, Julie.